Hello, this is Ryan Swingley coming to you live from the ISPLS Podcast booth. In an interest to better communicate with our membership, we decided that a podcast might be a good opportunity for people to listen in on their commute into work, whenever they have free time. Just kind of open the lines of communication. And today's topic and some things that we might do it's just going to be a review of our last board meeting that we literally just finished up 5 minutes ago. We might bring some additional topics to the table, but for now we're just going to wing it and see what we get. I'm joined today by Eric Meeks, your current ISPLS president, Alex Doherty, and Ryan Selby, who have I don't want to surprise anyone here, have committed to running for ISPLS president in the next election. So we're very excited to have some youth joining, not only at the board, but at the leadership level. So, anyone want to say hi? Got anything to add before we go into board review?
Yeah, keep it going. Keep it rolling.
All right. So, of course, with any board meeting, we went through some boring old business, talked about our agenda and things of that nature. But one of the topics of discussion was the reviewing of our ISPLS manuals. For a reminder, we have Manual 1, which is the perpetuation of Indiana corners. We feel like that one is, there's not much updating that needs to happen to that. That's kind of like common law, right? This is going to stand the test of time. We feel the same way about Manual number 6, which is the establishment of boundaries by unwritten methods. The two manuals I think that are probably dated, due for an update or just all-out elimination would be Manual 2, the Indiana Coordinate System, and Manual 3, the Law and Surveying Manual. Who's got some comments, some questions, some concerns about these manuals?
Well, I know some of our younger guys that are studying for their tests, they actually have looked at them, kind of gave them some direction, and I agree with what you said. The Indiana Coordinate System, that's forever changing, and especially with INGCS being implemented. I've only briefly looked at it, but I don't even know if it includes INGCS at the moment.
No, I mean, this manual's from
94.
Yeah, it's a very old manual.
It's went from ancient to historic. It's kind of it's evolved out. It's not that it's not relevant, but it's something that will forever be a part of Indiana history. But it's nothing that has been advanced on and needs to kind of be set aside.
Well, as we move into the new 2025 datum, it's most certainly going to be sunsetted. But for historical purposes, we felt that it still has value. We're probably going to take that manual and put it up on the website, make it available for all of our members to look at. Anything else to add, Selby, on that?
I don't think so on that one. I think on the other one,
the manuals are still available.
Yes.
On the ISPLS website.
Yeah. And then we talked as Manual 3 that we talked about revamping that one and maybe looking more at evolving it more into like more of a case law. We discussed that as an option for that one.
Yeah, so we're looking at a multitude of options on Manual 3. Right now it's a regurgitation of a bunch of information that can be found online. I think those things are dynamically changing too. Probably not as quick as some, Indiana law doesn't move as quickly as some changes. But yeah, I think the idea was, and I think the idea was brought to us by Jim Tibbett years ago about creating a law book in Indiana that would go through numerous cases and talk about how those might impact surveying in the state of Indiana. So we're going to revisit that idea. We're going to talk with Jim and maybe look back on what his original proposal was and, see what we might be able to do to make, law more accessible to all surveyors across the state. What else we got, Eric?
New business convention. It'll be here before you know it. 2023 convention will be in Fort Wayne, hosted by the St. Joseph chapter, along with Northwest chapter. So we're really excited about that. We're excited about going back to Fort Wayne. It's a good convention. I think it's going to be something that the membership will really dig. 2024 we'll be back somewhere in central Indiana. We're still trying to nail down a venue. We're going to get away from the Marriott East. That's the one known. 2025 Southwest chapter will be hosting, and we'll be in the southwest part of the state to coincide with that. So there's a lot coming up and a lot planned on out ahead.
Yeah, let's conversate a little bit about that situation. I mean, a couple years ago, we made the commitment to move the convention outside of central Indiana. The first one, what year was it we went to?
French Lick.
And then we followed up the following year with Fort Wayne. And there were we were met with more opposition, I think, than we had planned. Us central Indiana guys were happy to get out of Indianapolis, but there were some outliers, in the Northeast or Northeast, Northwest, Southwest, Southeast that were not really big fans of traveling to different locations.
And we've been lucky enough to have favorable weather in both instances. That's the one thing with going outside of central Indiana is with the travel. If weather conditions can really have an impact on that travel as it be in the distance. So we've been lucky there.
Yeah, I think an important point to touch on is, one of the positive things that came out of COVID is we've gotten better at hosting online conventions. We had a complete online convention the year that we were quarantined, and then last year we continued to have that online convention in somewhat of a different form. We went, instead of a 3-day conference, we went to, I think it was every Friday, 4 Fridays in the month of March. And I think that gave us a unique opportunity to gather at a convenient time, not have to dedicate 3 days to it. But also, the month of March is National Surveyors Week, falls in the month of March. And that gives us an opportunity to sit down and talk about how we promote National Surveyors Week. But I guess the point is that if traveling around, let's say you're from the Northwest and you don't want to go down south for the conference, we still have great educational opportunities for you through online seminars and our online convention. So we don't really foresee that going away. I think people really like the delivery method, and we'll keep doing that. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to get a hold of Eric Meeks. Be sure you spell his name correctly. And Brian Lewis. So if you have any suggestions, get a hold of us. Let us hear about it.
Duly noted. Nominations. That in mind, we've got the nominations are open for president and board of directors positions that are available. So get a hold of Ryan Swingley, nominations committee chair, if you're interested in being involved. If you're just thinking about it, if you want to know what it entails, or if you're interested in it, reach out and see what opportunities are available.
Yeah, by no means. I mean, like I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, we've got Alex and Ryan here that have agreed to run for president-elect, but that by no means closes the ballot. If you want to throw your hat in the ring, the more the merrier. I love a multiple candidate election, and I hate a single candidate election because I believe our membership deserves a choice. With that being said, Alex, you want to give us a little insight on what drove you to want to throw your hat in that ring?
Yeah, I'll touch on more than just the presidential run, but just joining the board. I know my first meeting here, I've known Ryan for quite some time, but my first meeting, I think besides 2 people in the room knew who I was. I'm from southwestern Indiana, so I'm not part of the CIC group that a lot of the people kind of network with around here, but joining the board has really kind of expanded my network. I know people in Northwest Indiana, Northeast Indiana, and just the the conference is more than just education for me. It's networking, talking to other peers, getting kind of to see what their work climates are and things. So I highly suggest, if you have any apprehension of joining or trying to throw your name in the hat for the board, do it. I mean, it's great. I'm one of the younger guys on the board, and it's really kind of helped move my career forward. And then we'll move into the more campaigning here. We got Ryan Selby as well, who's on the list. But I think both of us are probably going to be coming from we're younger guys, and we want to try and get some more youth involved with ISPLS. We had some good movement with the Young Surveyors group, and we're trying to push that forward. And it really shouldn't stop there. I mean, it would be awesome to see more and more people get involved with the board. So, like I said, don't hesitate to reach out, talk to Ryan Swingley, Ryan Selby, myself, get with Ethan Hope with Young Surveyors. I mean, let's try and rally some of the youth around this.
Yeah, I think that's the thing right now is I think our board is probably one of the younger boards that we've had in probably a long time. There's a lot of
very long time.
30-year-old type people on the board right now, and I think we've kind of got a little bit of a movement. Let's keep it going and just kind of see where it can take us.
Absolutely.
Membership involvement is another thing that we touched on, or the last big thing I think needed mentioned. We're always looking for opportunities to utilize our membership in any kind of volunteer. Whether you don't want to serve on the board, whether you don't want to be in a position so much would be considered formal, but just if you're looking to help out, get involved, and be in there that way, there's a limitless amount of possibilities for that. So, we're always looking for ways for members to feel like they can contribute, and at whatever level that is, there's no standard of what that can and can't be. So you got ideas, you got ways, you got a way that you could maybe pitch utilizing some volunteer time. Hey, we're all about it. So
Yeah, one of the things we've talked about over the last several years is something we've coined as, what did you call it?
Micro volunteerism.
Micro volunteerism. The idea is that we would have a set of ISPLS members that might be looking for good content to share. They might make a phone call to a new registrant. They might want to review some of the content just briefly before it goes out for publication. So we're looking for 5 and 10 minute volunteer opportunities that we can have people to get more further involved in sharing the message of ISPLS. So be on the lookout for an opportunity to sign up if you are into content creation, content moderation, content sharing on social media and other platforms. Then we think this is a good opportunity for you to hit that like and share button, maybe make a brief comment to just keep this content moving forward in a positive way. And last but not least, I think it's important to talk about the item C there on our new business. And Eric, I think you're probably more intimately knowledgeable with what's going on with
Clayton Hogston's work with the government notes. It's really brought up a point a lot of times in discussion of the.
Why don't you go back and talk about what Clayton's mission has been and what it's done?
Clayton came to ISPLS a decade ago with the idea of digitizing the complete notes for the state of Indiana for the government notes, the federal copy, there's a state copy, and then there's local copies. And really, Clayton originally started and focused on the federal copy. And then it became a thing where it was kind of pitched as a whole lump sum thing, and that didn't work out. But it's over the years has come to fruition as far as we do now have a complete set of notes for the state that are digitized and available. And I think it's really getting the word out for what that, I don't think I can put it into justice, the work that's he has individually put in to make that happen. And I think that's something that can't be hit on enough. And I don't think people really grasp what that means for the state of Indiana as far as from a surveyor's perspective and the records that have become available in that time. The complete set of notes is available to any ISPLS member. There's a way to get that to you, and those ways are changing even as we speak. Right now they're available on a thumb drive. If you provide the thumb drive, that content will be put on there for you. It's in the works to publish that once a server space is gained and organized, to have that available in real time and searchable. But again, it's all been made available by Clayton, and I think that's work that doesn't get enough attention, and I think really should be brought into a spotlight for years to come.
Well, let's take just a few minutes. We're going to try to wrap this up, 20, 30 minutes maximum, but let's take a few minutes to talk about what the government notes mean for you in your daily practice. I mean, maybe some of the old timers know, but some of the younger generation, they may not have been as readily available. They may never used or seen a set of government notes. I hope that's not the case, but can each of you, Ryan, Alex, Eric, share some positive stories of how you use the government notes in your practice?
Well, I'll take you back to the Vincennes days. I mean, Indiana is the first state that adopted the 1785 Act that went completely to the public land survey system. And that's the framework of all land records of Indiana are based on that. And that's what this lays down the foundation for. And as anybody across the surveying profession knows, you may not even work in that area. But if you do, or if you've ever come in and involved with that, having those kind of notes at your fingertips is invaluable. When I first started in surveying, if you wanted that kind of information outside of what a county surveyor held, you had to make a trip to the Indiana State Archives in Indianapolis, sign in, relinquish all your liquids, and go back into a room for viewing of microfiche or microfilm, and dig through those, and they were categorized and labeled. But that was when you were considering doing a perpetuating the location of a lost corner or an obliterated corner or anything to do with public land survey sections, that was a step you had to make if you didn't have that information available at the county. And to have that at your fingertips and at your desktop, it's a game changer for working in that type of establishment. And whether you're working through a county surveyor's office or a private survey company that does do that type of work, that's what it's streamlined the way to responsibly establish those corners.
Yeah, I think it's, to play devil's advocate a little bit, let's be honest, we're probably not going to be very many bearing trees left in Indiana. There may be a few. You go down to Hoosier National Forest or areas like that, but there are still valuable amounts of information on there, specifically in irregular sections and areas that are slightly different. One of the things I've always loved about
quarters.
Yeah, closing corners. The one things I've always loved about the federal notes, state notes, is the topographic calls. I've used topographic calls as justification on why I put a corner where it was. Obviously I'm not going to hang my hat solely upon topographic calls, but if I backed a corner's location in via deeds on some evidence I found, and that also agrees with topographic calls, then I feel like I've hit the right location, and I feel like I have a defensible stance on why I placed the corner or why I did. You guys have anything else to contribute? Anything to add?
Yeah, my experience with them has been pretty minimal, but you said Hoosier National Forest. I'm from the Perry County area, and that's about the only time I've ran into those notes where they've been helpful and very useful at the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, we got any other comments, questions? Brian, I forgot to mention Brian Lewis is sitting in on this inaugural podcast. Do you have anything to add, contribute?
No, wonderful first podcast.
All
Talk
right.
about the next meeting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it looks like we're on schedule for the next in-person meeting. Will be, is it October 21st, and we're going to go down to Vincennes for this one. Something some of you may not know is that the board's also the advisory board for the Vincennes program. So this is an opportunity for the board to go down and see the program at Vincennes, and then also have our meeting while we're down there.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that any member is welcome to attend any board meeting. The only thing that we ask, especially in a situation like Vincennes, since we're traveling, we only ask that you just give us a heads up so we can make sure we have the accommodations to fit you. Obviously, if every ISPLS member showed up to a board meeting, we might be a little bit cramped. But anyone's welcome anytime. We also stream those virtually. So if you want to join in on the Teams meeting, let Brian Lewis know, and we'll get you in there. We're going to hopefully continue this format. I think it will be good for a synopsis, maybe while you're driving into work, having a cup of coffee, just to get an update on what we're doing. We do hope to hit some bigger topics later. I think we haven't talked to him, but Brian Catlin runs a great series on the Hoosier Surveyor, talking about the legal aspects of surveying that we think would be a great podcast episode. And then also, we're extremely heavily involved in workforce development, and getting Rodney Kelly in here to talk about, what his vision is for workforce development for the state of Indiana, and what we're doing to shed land surveying in a positive light across the public and students and everybody that will listen. So with that, I think we'll wrap it up. We thank you guys for joining in. If you like the format, you like the conversation, feel free to give us a like and hit us up with an email and a follow-up. And with that, we'll close it out. So thanks again, Eric, Alex, Ryan. Thanks for joining us. Brian, thanks for being here as always. And
Thank you, Ryan.
we'll hear from you next time.